Greetings, we'll cover a few details about J. Robert Oppenheimer and his life in a succinct manner. Here is a short rundown of his early years, education, career, persona, notable works, accolades, legacy and demise. Theorist from the United States. Oppenheimer, a physics professor at the University of California, Berkeley, served as the director of the Los Alamos Laboratory during World War II and is frequently referred to as the father of the atomic bomb for his work on the Manhattan Project, which produced the first nuclear weapons. On July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb was successfully detonated in New Mexico during the Trinity test, which Oppenheimer was one of the observers of. Known as J. Robert Oppenheimer is known, the father of atomic bomb, and was the lead figure of the Manhattan Project, famous as theoretical physicist. Born April 22, 1904, New York, United States. Died February 18, 1967, Princeton, New Jersey, United States. Father, Julius Oppenheimer. Mother, Ella Friedman. Siblings, Frank Oppenheimer. Spouse, Catherine Puning Harrison. Children, Catherine Oppenheimer, Peter Oppenheimer. Education, Harvard College, Christ's College, Cambridge, University of Göttingen. Julius Oppenheimer, a wealthy textile importer, and Ella Friedman, a professional painter, were the parents of Julius Robert Oppenheimer. German Jews who had emigrated to America in 1888 were his parents. He began his education at Alcuin Preparatory School before enrolling at the Ethical Culture Society School in 1911. He quickly finished his education there, where he also developed a deep interest in the field of mineralogy. He enrolled in Harvard College in 1922 to study chemistry, but eventually added courses in literature, history, math, theoretical physics, and experimental physics to his curriculum. In 1925, he received his university degree. He enrolled in Christ's College at Cambridge University, and began working there. J.J. Thomson, a well-known British physicist, shortly offered him a job and accepted it in exchange for him finishing a basic laboratory course. He enrolled in the University of Göttingen in 1926, and studied under Max Born there. He became friends with several people, who later rose to fame, like Enrico Fermi and Wolfgang Pauli, at the university, which at the time was one of the top schools for theoretical physics. He wrote more than a dozen physics publications while he was a student and also produced groundbreaking advances in the area of quantum mechanics. His dissertation, which was based on his thesis paper, and the Born-Oppenheimer approximation, is renowned in the field of molecular science. In 1927, he attained his goal of becoming a doctor of philosophy. He received a scholarship from the U.S. National Study Council in 1927 to conduct research at Harvard University and the California Institute of Technology. In 1928, he gave lectures at the University of Leiden, and then traveled to Zurich to work with his friend, Wolfgang Pauli, on quantum mechanics and the continuous spectrum. In 1929, he agreed to take a job as an associate professor at the University of California, Berkeley, where he worked for the following 20 years. In addition to being a physicist, he began actively participating in politics in the year 1934. In addition to beginning to promote social reforms that were later derided as communist attempts, he started donating a portion of his salary to aid German physicists who were trying to flee Nazi Germany. He developed the Oppenheimer-Phillips process in 1935, in collaboration with physicist Melba Phillips. It is still in use today. He was urged to reduce his professorship at Caltech University when he was asked to limit his appointment as a full-time professor at the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory in 1936. Oppenheimer would be granted a 6-week release, or the equivalent of 1 semester, in order to teach at Caltech, according to a completed arrangement. He wrote a paper titled On Continued Gravitational Attraction in 1939 that foretold the formation of black holes. The paper didn't provide enough clarification, though. He collaborated in the Manhattan Project in 1942 with a team that was working on creating the first atomic bombs for use in World War II. In 1947, he was overwhelmingly chosen to serve as the Atomic Energy Commission's General Advisory Committee chairman. He energetically advocated as chairman for basic science funding and for international arms control. He was also the Institute for Advanced Studies director at Princeton, New Jersey, starting in 1947. He created the idea of renormalization during the same year, while working on the quantum electrodynamics of elementary particles with a number of other physicists. J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI had been keeping a close eye on Oppenheimer since before World War II because they thought he was closely connected to communist organizations. He admitted to working closely with the Communist Party in the 1930s, in front of the House Un-American Activities Committee in 1949, which landed him in hot water for the following 4 years. In 1936, he had an affair at Berkeley with Jean Tatlock, a medical student from Stanford University, and the daughter of a Berkeley literary professor. At Berkeley, he met biologist Catherine Puning Harrison, who had been married 3 times before. On November 1, 1940, Oppenheimer wed her, and they went on to have 2 kids, Peter and Catherine. He produced a thesis paper on the Born-Oppenheimer approximation at the University of Göttingen, which became a famous publication in the field of quantum chemistry and explains the wave function of molecules. One of his significant early works is this, according to many. His article on the Oppenheimer-Phillips process introduced a fresh perspective on nuclear fusion that is still relevant in today's scientific community. He made important contributions to spectroscopy, astrophysics, quantum field theory, and nuclear physics. He was the first physicist to recognize black holes as being real. He had made important advances in the idea of cosmic ray showers, which helped to explain quantum tunneling. He was made an honorary member of the New York Mineralogical Club at the age of 12 for his presentation on mineralogy. For his work as the director of Los Alamos, he received the Medal of Merit in 1946. He received the Enrico Fermi Award in 1963 for his assistance during a political crisis. Numerous biographies have been written about Oppenheimer, such as American Prometheus, The Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer, 2005, by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin, which was awarded the 2006 Pulitzer Prize for biography or autobiography. A Peabody Award and an Academy Award nomination went to The Day After Trinity, a 1980 documentary about J. Robert Oppenheimer and the creation of the atomic bomb. Both the lunar crater Oppenheimer and the asteroid 67085 Oppenheimer bear his name. The life of Oppenheimer was also examined in the 2015 play Oppenheimer by Tom Morton Smith and the 1989 movie Fat Man and Little Boy, in which Dwight Schultz played the scientist. Actor Cillian Murphy plays Oppenheimer in the American film Oppenheimer, which was directed by Christopher Nolan and is based on American Prometheus. Chain smoker Oppenheimer received a throat cancer diagnosis in the latter part of 1965. Late in 1966, following unsuccessful surgery, he had chemotherapy and unsuccessful radiation therapy. On February 15, 1967, he went into a coma and passed away, at home in Princeton, New Jersey, on February 18, at the age of 62.